Tyson Fury has consistently downplayed the ability of Alexander Usyk. And in this instance, he says that Usyk would have gotten battered by Steve Cunningham if they fought, I guess, prime for prime. Now, Fury has long said that Cunningham was the toughest opponent he ever faced in the ring, amateur or pro. I'm going to quote him here. He said, "I think Steve Cunningham was probably a better fighter than Alexander Usyk. That's just my opinion. I think Steve would have battered him, actually." And that's from a recent interview. But in a previous interview, he said the following, and this was talking about the Steve Cunningham fight. He said, "I came out here all confident and ran straight into an overhand right. I was looking up at Madison Square Garden's roof and I thought, it's now back to the farm boy, get up. Believe it or not, this is going to sound strange. Cunningham was the hardest fight I ever did in my whole career, amateur or professional. The reason being, he was very slippery. The way I explained Cunningham, it was like a conger reel all full of oil in front of me. I couldn't pin him down. He was light on his feet. He was weighing 208 pounds or something. He was a slick, talented boxer, and I tried to walk him down using my size and power, but he was just outboxing me. What I'm good at, boxing, moving, slipping, and sliding, I couldn't do against Steve Cunningham because he was quicker than me. It was like he was a better boxer all round than me. I couldn't do nothing with him, and he knocked me all over, even though he was a light puncher supposedly. I walked right onto it. It came from the back of the hall, a big overhand right on the chin. I thought, this is it. US debut, I've been knocked out. Tyson Fury get up and kick his you-know-what. So I got up, I just went straight forward at him. No more boxing now. You might be ahead on points, but sooner or later I'm going to get you. And I did. In round 7, I felt him going weak because I was pushing him back. After he got tired, I hit him with a heavy shot in round 7 and he didn't recover. And then I pushed his head back and knocked him clean out with a right hand. That was the only time he was ever knocked out in his career, even to today. I'm not going to make any excuses. Steve Cunningham was a better boxer than me." Okay, so you've heard it from the horse's mouth there. Tyson Fury said that Steve Cunningham was a better boxer than him. And the reason that he switched up the tactics was because he was being outboxed. He felt as though he couldn't compete with Cunningham boxing on the outside. That was the last time Tyson Fury fought someone with that type of ability. Faster feet, quicker reflexes, better hand-eye coordination. It was Steve Cunningham, long time ago. This is why I've always wanted to see Tyson Fury in against someone like an Alexander Usyk or even a Michael Hunter. Because if he hasn't beaten anyone like them in this intervening period, what makes you believe he's going to have an easy time against an Alexander Usyk or even a Michael Hunter now? What has happened? Has he, again, unless you're in there with one of these small mobile heavyweights, then you're not going to know how he's going to do. So, has Tyson Fury improved in certain ways? Of course he's improved. But has he improved in the areas necessary to make beating Alexander Usyk easy? That's what we don't know. So we'll find out if and when he fights Alexander Usyk. Now, as far as claiming that Steve Cunningham is better than Alexander Usyk and he would have battered him, well, styles make fights. But if we're just going off records, Steve Cunningham's record doesn't come close to Alexander Usyk's record, amateur or pro. Let's be real. When we talk about Alexander Usyk, we are talking about, in my view, the greatest cruiserweight of all time. Yeah, I said it. Better than Holyfield in terms of his cruiserweight resume. If you're talking about who would win in a fight between a prime Holyfield and a prime Usyk, that's just down to opinion. But in terms of their records, come on. At cruiserweight, I'm not talking about heavyweight, because Holyfield went on to have a stellar heavyweight resume. But at cruiserweight, Alexander Usyk's got the better record than Evander Holyfield. For me, I think a very strong argument, and in my head, an argument that can't really be refuted, Usyk is the greatest cruiserweight of all time. Now, if we compare that to Steve Cunningham, his cruiserweight days. So we won't talk about the more recent times when he's lost to the likes of Andrew Tabiti. We'll talk about his title run in the cruiserweight division. And title fight. So 2016, he lost to Krzysztof Glowatsky. Before that, a split decision draw with Tava. Before that, okay, this was a heavyweight actually against Glaskov. Excuse me, Tava was also at heavyweight, so you'll scratch that out. But then we go down to the Thomas Adamek fight. Was that a heavyweight fight? I mean, 200, yeah, that was a heavyweight fight. We can forget about that. But he lost that anyway. Now, his IBF cruiserweight title run ended in 2011 when he lost to Juan Pablo Hernandez. And there were back-to-back losses to Hernandez. First was technical decision in 6. The second was a unanimous decision in 12. Okay? Would Usyk be losing to Hernandez? You guys let me know what you think. Then, of course, a couple years earlier, he lost to Thomas Adamek, their first fight, I believe it was, which was a cruiserweight, and that was on a split decision over 12. Prior to that, he lost to Krzysztof Wlodarczyk on a split decision over 12. Okay, that was his first loss, was to Krzysztof Wlodarczyk. Would Alexander Usyk be losing to this guy? Would Alexander, and of course in the rematch here, he won on a majority over 12. Would Usyk be struggling so much with this guy? Would Usyk be losing to the Adameks? Would Usyk be losing to Juan Pablo Hernandez? In my opinion, no way. Absolutely no way. Usyk is a cut above. In my view, he's a cut above all these guys. Several cuts above all these guys that Steve Cunningham fought and that Steve Cunningham was having a very difficult time with. So, yeah, I don't see Alexander Usyk getting battered, quote unquote, by Steve Cunningham like Tyson Fury claims. I see Alexander Usyk beating Steve Cunningham prime for prime. And let's be real, Alexander Usyk at this point, what is he, 35, 36? He's not in his prime. His prime was probably a few years ago, maybe early 30s, late 20s. He's still a very, very good fighter. But you can't really say he's in his prime at this point, can you? And yet he's still good enough to school Anthony Joshua twice. And we're going to see if Tyson Fury gets in the ring with him, what he can do with the Gypsy King. So maybe Tyson Fury will find out the hard way regarding Alexander Usyk. Maybe he'll find out that that will actually be the toughest fight of his career, amateur or pro, rather than the Steve Cunningham fight. Now, will Alexander Usyk deck Fury the way that Cunningham decked him? I suspect not. Usyk doesn't throw those kind of punches. But in terms of being slippery, I don't think Tyson Fury has seen anything yet. If he thought that Steve Cunningham was slippery and difficult to pin down, I think he's going to find Alexander Usyk far more slippery and far more difficult to pin down. For my money, Usyk has better footwork than Cunningham, better head movement than Cunningham, a better boxing brain than Cunningham. Cunningham is more of an athlete than Usyk. That's what I'll say. Maybe he can move around the ring a bit quicker, more explosive foot movement and stuff like that, maybe. But overall, I would say Usyk has the better feet than Cunningham. And again, he knows how to move in and out of range and offset your timing, offset your rhythm, offset your balance. There's people out there, people I've spoken to, people I respect, people I like, who think that Fury is just too good a boxer and his jab is too good for Alexander Usyk to be able to get near him. I have to completely disagree with that. If there's anyone who's going to struggle to get near the other person and land their shots, in my mind, it's going to be Fury struggling to land on Usyk. I don't think Usyk's going to have any problem getting past Tyson Fury's jab. No problem at all. I think for Tyson Fury to win, it's going to be exactly the tactics he used against Steve Cunningham. He's going to have to take it to him. He's going to have to do what Anthony Joshua couldn't and fight a big man fight, where you're willing to block Usyk's shots, walk him down, get on the inside, be rough, hit him in the body, throw him around, all that kind of stuff. In my head, that's the only way Fury's beating Usyk. If Fury's trying to be at long range, popping a jab, I can't see how he beats Usyk like that. I don't think he has the coordination. Just what he described, exactly what he described in that Cunningham fight, is what I think Tyson Fury would experience in the Usyk fight in terms of the smaller guy just being too well coordinated for him. Because that's basically what Fury was describing. Cunningham was too well coordinated. Fury looks really good and coordinated against big, heavy men like Dylan White or poorly coordinated guys like Deontay Wilder. He's never been in there with a guy like Usyk. Do you know what I mean? All of a sudden, he's not going to look so coordinated when he's fighting someone like that. And I think people, the ones who think that Fury can just keep Usyk on the end of a jab, I think they're going to be shocked when they see how the Tyson Fury Usyk fight plays out. They're going to say, why is Fury not jabbing? Why is he not doing this? What? It's not so easy, folks, right? When a guy's much better coordinated than you, it's not so easy landing your jab, especially when he's a southpaw. I think Fury can win the fight, but he's going to have to win ugly. It's not going to be a pretty performance. He's going to have to get stuck in, and he's shown the ability to do it. We've seen this many times from Fury. He does have the ability to just get stuck in and grind out a win and worry about looking flashy and slick next time against an opponent who it's easier to look flashy and slick against. But against the Alexander Usyks of the world, just going to need to get stuck in, take it to him, and show these other guys in the heavyweight division, big guys, how it's done. That's the thing about Fury. Show him how it's done. Show these guys that you can't finesse someone like Usyk. Don't try to. Take it to him. You know what I mean? So anyway, very much look forward to the undisputed fight if it happens. But that is how I feel about Fury's claim that Cunningham is better than Usyk and would have battered him. Let me know how you feel in the comments.
If you're tired of the biased narratives and mass censorship on mainstream platforms, and you want to be part of a community of critical thinkers who love free speech just as much as you do, then come and join me on Patreon and access my weekly no-holds-barred, censorship-free podcast where we lift the lid on a wide variety of controversial topics. It's not mainstream friendly, it's not politically correct, but that's the whole point. We dare to stand as a beacon of reason against an army of insanity. Just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called Hatman Hot Topics. You'll gain access to a minimum of 2 hours of exclusive content every single week, including podcasts, videos, interviews, live stream Q&As, as well as my popular Confessions of a Nightclub Bouncer series. Not to mention a vast back catalog of hundreds of hours of previous episodes. You can listen via the Patreon app with the option to download in high quality MP3. We've also got an Element group where you can come and chat and hang out with myself and other members. Unlike Discord, it has full end-to-end encryption, is decentralized, and is 100% censorship free. You can also send voice notes as well as much larger audio and video files than you can on Discord. So come and sign up on Patreon. There's no contract, there's no commitment, you can cancel at any time, and it's cheaper than a cup of coffee. So I'll see you over there. I'm out.